My name's Tim Papworth. I'm a third generation Norfolk farmer. I'm 47 years old and by rights I shouldn't be here. I went to change a light bulb and how easily it can happen. September, October, this time of year is a very, very busy time on the farm. And I was arrived at the store to see the guys that were putting the potatoes into the store, and one of my employees said to me, Tim, we can't see, the light is gone and it's dark, and I had a spare bulb with me. So I went up the ladder to change a light bulb, unscrewed the frame holding the light bulb, took the old one out, put the new one in, and then somewhere along that path I lost balance and I fell 14 feet to the concrete below, which is solid, and that's when I had my serious head injury, changing a light bulb. Well, I'm 6 foot and I'm guessing, well, I know it's about 14 feet, so I'm guessing, but yeah, just a little bit lower than that.
Long way to fall.
14 feet, yeah. Yeah.
Do you got ladders now?
Yeah.
Do you think about it when you do?
Yes. And making sure it's footed properly and safe, yeah. Yeah, I do. Do think about it.
Did it emotionally?
I had broken all the ribs on the left-hand side of my body here. Every single one of them was smashed. I had a punctured lung because of the broken rib. I also had a pneumothorax, which was quite sore, where they put a hole through the side of my chest cavity to inflate my lung because I'd punctured it and it had gone down and I needed to breathe. So I had a pneumothorax. I had a very sore head. Lots of my skull was missing, and I have a titanium plate this side of my skull, and there's a tiny little scar here, which basically unzipped my head, put the titanium plate, screwed it to the skull, zipped me back up, and that's titanium this side. Fortunately, I haven't got much brain damage. I have a tiny little bit, which is actually the hearing. I'm deaf in this ear because it's the right-hand side of the brain affects the left-hand side of the body. And I was paralysed on the left hand. This arm didn't work for a good long while, I think 3 months before I started to get feeling back in this arm. I could wiggle my toes, very strange, I could wiggle my toes on both feet, but I couldn't actually pick this arm up, it just sort of hung there. This arm worked, fortunately, so I was able to feed myself, and yeah, so lots of things happened. Being in a coma for 5 weeks, it was a drug-induced coma. Your brain is active. My brain was kept on thinking all the while what was going on. My ears were probably letting some sounds in around me. And there were so many things I dreamt had happened when they hadn't. There were so many things I thought had occurred and hadn't. But actually, when I got back home after my accident and time in Addenbrooke's, my wife had to sort of teach me, and I had to relearn stuff. I dreamt that people had babies and they hadn't. I had dreamt that people got married and they hadn't, and so many things, and I had to sort of start to relearn my life. I mean, I'm a changed man. I mean, it was a life-changing, put a lot of pressure on my family, my wider family and immediate family. My poor wife used to have to come up to Addenbrooke's on a daily basis and see her husband, who was a vegetable, because I couldn't talk to her for a number of weeks. She used to come and see me and talk to me, and I was just sort of in a bed with her, you know, with tubes going in and out. It was horrible for her. It put a lot of stress on her. But she's an absolute angel and stood by me, and you know, we're through sickness and in health, and I certainly put her through sickness and in health. But it puts a lot of stress on the relationship and the family. I mean, while I was ill, the rest of my family were trying to run the farming business, and I was the kingpin in so many different aspects of that business. I knew about the potatoes, I knew about the beef cattle, I knew about I knew so many bits and pieces, and they're left with a jigsaw puzzle with a big piece missing that I had to try and fill, which was not easy for them either. You know, you never know. Just taking more care is one of the things, and not rushing. Just take a step back and just slow down. That's what I've had to learn. That actually, I just need to take a step back and slow down and think about what I'm doing a bit more. Whereas before, I was just trying to do so many different things in so many different places at so many different times. I was just overloading myself, and yeah. And now take a step back and just think about things a little bit more.